Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today let's have a look at the brand new Kuro Boeing 787-8 mod, which is now compatible with the aircraft and avionics update to Boeing 787. So this basically adds the 787-8 to the previous 787-10 mod. Now, what this does and all the lovely features that we will see with this, we'll see about in the next few minutes in this video. So the mod is available from flightsim.to, I'll link it in the video description below, and apart from adding the 787-8, it also adds the GEnx engines and its corresponding engine indications. So we'll see those in action in a few moments, but before we start with that, let's quickly go ahead and start with the walkaround. The 787-8 is quite a bit shorter as the 787-10, as you can easily see over here. However, it is therefore also a lot more fun to fly because it will have a lot greater performance than its longer counterpart. So, the model itself, you can kind of see where they did a little bit of editing on the model, like over here. But you really need to get close up in order to see that. If you view it from a certain distance, then you will quickly see that everything is looking well on here. By default, it does come with a GSX profile, however, it does look like that could use a little bit of improvement over there. However, that's once again GSX profile stuff and not part of the airplane. The plane itself, as you can see, looks, well, quite strange actually at first when you look at this and you have only flown the 787-10 for a while. However, I would say we head straight into the airplane and into the cockpit. By the way, lots of you have been asking me how I'm doing those walkarounds, and this is basically how I do it. I'm using the drone camera with the speed reduced and the rotation speed reduced as well. Okay then, let's go right into the cockpit and turn the airplane on. Okay, our airplane is starting up, and now we can have a look into a couple of those differences between the 787-10 and the -8, and some of the stuff that the Kuro mod adds into it. The first one is quite obvious, right in front of us. If you have a look into those engine displays, we have the GEnx engines in here, and they model both the GEnx and the Trent 1000s, and those are driven by N1 and not driven by TPR. So, different engines altogether. Another example of what's different is the flap levers. You can see in the 787-10 we don't have the, in the -8 we don't have the flap 10 position, and we don't have the 17 and 18 position over here. Obviously in the FMC we can see we've got the GEnx engine installed over here as well. So those are just some of the differences of this little airplane type. Now, let's quickly go ahead and have a look into our Sim Toolkit Pro so that we can see what we've planned for today's journey. And this is where we are. We are currently sitting at Jeddah International Airport, and we'll fly this one over to Doha. Short little 1 hour and 50-minute journey, and one that is flown with the real Boeing 787-8. Okay, so I've already loaded the airplane up. We are carrying 16 tons of fuel, which equals our planned takeoff fuel plus taxi fuel rounded up to the next thousands. And that is basically our plan. We have 240 passengers on board, which equals the maximum seating layout, giving us a total payload of around 22 tons. Okay then. Since we are basically ready for our FMC setup, let's go ahead and do it right now. This should be a fairly quick one because, well, there is just not too much of a route to enter, which for the 787 is quite remarkable all by itself. Okay, we are at Oscar Echo Juliet November, and we're flying towards Oscar Tango Hotel Hotel, and we are the Quebec Tango Romeo 1191. Our departure runway today is going to be 34 center. The wind, as we can see, in Sim Toolkit Pro is coming from the northwest, 31086, 33 degrees, QNH 1007. Typical weather conditions for this time of the year in this area. For the departures, let's quickly have a look into the Navigraph charts. Once again, Navigraph charts kindly sponsored by Navigraph, which I'm really grateful for. They are great additions to our simulation experience. So, departure runway is going to be our runway 34 center. Let's quickly go ahead and change that over here. And it's automatically going to pick the departure runway and the SID for us. Load the departures available. Let's see, we probably got the Agrap 1 Lima departure. And indeed we do. We can take the early turn to the right here. We don't need to go all the way straight. So great little overview features that Navigraph came up with over here. And here we go. And now it added the SID chart automatically. So this is what we're looking at. Okay, so that is going to be quite a challenge for the airplane actually. Straight ahead, then turn right, heading 080, intercept a radial towards Agrap. Let's see if it can do that. That's going to be interesting. But we will see in a few moments when we actually depart. So for the routing, we're flying via Bravo 417 onto Tango 532. And then we go via Victor 975. Interestingly enough, it's picking different waypoints there. Let's correct that real quick. This one is going to be via Artor. Invalid line selected. Oh, lovely. Okay. Well, then we're just going to leave it like this. And this takes us towards Salva and then direct Julika. Actually, we should be able to go direct to Julika. Let's see. Yeah, we can. Perfect. Okay, and the arrival into Doha today is going to be runway 34 right, and we have the Julika 1 Lima arrival. Here it is. And that's all we need. Okay, activate, execute, and let's go ahead. Fuel reserves, we have an alternate at Dubai, 4.3 tons plus 2, makes it 6.3 tons of reserve fuel. Zero fuel weight, I'll take straight from the airplane. Cruising today at flight level 410, as you can see. And our cost index is going to be 67. Okay, the cruise CG is taken automatically. For the takeoff, I'll use takeoff 2 and 55 degree assumed temperature, giving us 80% and 1. That's quite a derate there, but we are very light today, so I don't think that's going to be any issue. Okay, last thing over here, acceleration height today is going to be 1,000 feet. And on the VNAV page, we can quickly insert the transition altitude, which is going to be 13,000, as you can see on the chart up here. Okay, so 13,000 coming right in here, and that should be our FMC setup pretty much completed. Okay, let's go ahead with the remainder of our cockpit setup. We'll start up here. IRSs are aligning, the external powers are connected, and you know what, I'm going to fire up the APU because it is going to get pretty hot in here. Okay, and that is the overhead completed. Let's continue with the MCP. We've got 145 on the V2. Here you go, 145. Runway track. Accidentally hit the select button, didn't mean to do that. Okay, so runway track is going to be 336. And then I remember from the chart, the first cleared altitude was 6,000 feet. Okay, traffic on, terrain on, and the same on the other side, traffic and terrain. Also, we just heard GSX being ready, so let's go ahead and order our pushback already. And then we're looking at a QNH of 1007, set on the active and set on the standby. This is all looking good. We can have a quick look into the checklist, but normally we would go into the reset page here and reset all. Unfortunately, that's not modeled, so we have to live with it. Okay then. Auto brakes armed. Not much more to do down here. We are on flying online, but nonetheless, I'm just quickly going to tune my standard Watson frequencies, Unicom and guard. The guard frequency is especially important when you're flying this area of the world. You really want to be on top of things over here, and if anybody wants to talk to you, then you really should be able to answer quickly. Okay. So that's pretty much our setup completed over here. And with that, we can do a quick departure briefing. So if we have a look into the airport map, we are standing over here in gate Charlie 2. Pushback is going to be with the nose to the right hand side. I'll bring this up for you on the Navigraph charts as well. We're parking down here, Charlie 2, pushback with the nose to the right, then taxi out Whiskey 1, Whiskey and Kilo, and then via Kilo we'll get to the Hotel 1 or Hotel 2 holding points, runway 34 center. So for the takeoff we will do a flap 5 takeoff, and we have reduced to a D-rate 2 and 55 degrees assumed temperature, speeds 130, 135, 145, trim 3 units, and we can set that a little bit later on. So, for the takeoff itself, let's have a look into the SID chart and compare that to our routing. So, our departure, Agrab 1 Lima departure, is on the heading 336 until 3DME Juliet Delta Whiskey. So we can go to the LEX page, and we've got 356 Charlie, third letter in the alphabet, so this is 3DME. Right turn heading 080 to intercept 038 outbound Jeddah VOR. And there is a speed limit of maximum 210 until established, and that is what we have on here as well. And then we follow that all the way to Agrab, climbing initially 6,000 feet, speed max 250 below 10,000, and we have that in here as well. Last thing I'm gonna do, I will turn the Juliet Delta Whiskey VOR, but actually you can see this one already got inserted automatically by the airplane. And that basically concludes our briefing. In case of any emergencies, we simply go straight ahead, fly out to the water, and 3,000 feet is going to keep us safe. However, the MSA is 4,500 in case we, for whatever reason, need to go towards the east. Any question on the departure briefing? No? Alright, that is very good. Then we can go ahead and read the checklist. So, pre-flight checklist, park and brake, set, fuel control switches, cut off, pre-flight checklist complete. Okay then, let's get the ICAS back. One little problem here that I just about see with the route, and that is due to the way how I entered the flight plan. So let's just quickly check after Agrab. Well, no, not you. After Agrab we go towards Patron. That looks a lot better. Okay, now that little flight plan problem there is fixed as well. Again, that wasn't due to the airplane, that was me and my way how I entered the route. As you can see, this is what things should look like, and this is what things do look like. Okay, perfect. With that, we are ready to go. APU should be running. Let's see. Yeah, APU is running. External power is disconnected already. The APU should supply air conditioning. Let's see real quick to be sure that we don't fry our passengers. And indeed, this is looking good as we can see. Okay, perfect. And let's go ahead and get our pushback clearance. Nose to the right.
Locking gear.
Cockpit to ground. Hey, go ahead, please. Please confirm all doors and hatches are closed, ground equipment is removed, and bypass pin is installed. Yeah, we can confirm that. Okay, thank you. We are pressurizing the hydraulics. Stand by. You can see the green units on the step trim indicator there are a little bit different than they are in the 787-10. Now that's expected because obviously our airplane has quite a different trim state than the longer version. Okay then, let's go ahead and read the checklist. So got the before start checklist. Passenger signs on MCP V2 145 heading 336 altitude 6000 and we can arm LNAV and VNAV. Takeoff speeds V1 130, VR 135, V2 145. CDU pre-flight complete. Trim 3 units and 0. Taxi and takeoff briefing completed. Beacon is on. B4 start checklist complete. Park and brake released.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at will.
Roger. Okay, we are on the way. So again, we got the GEnx engines powered by N1, not by TPR, so if things look a little bit different over here than what you are used to from the 787-10, then that is to be expected. So we're going to wait a little while here until we have actually pushed clear of that road, and then we can commence our engine start. Kind of funny how the nose wheel comes all the way up from the truck over here, but, well, I'll put that down on GSX. Also some interesting taxiway lights over here, but no comment on that. Okay, we cleared the road, let's go ahead and commence our engine startup.
Set parking brakes.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
And that is 2 good engine starts. So while the ground crew disconnects, we are going to run the remainder of the procedure. APU can go off. We certainly do not need any anti-ice over here in the desert. Flaps. 5. Recall. Checked. Okay then, let's do the flight control check. Full up.
Tow truck
Full down.
Bypass
Neutral.
pin removed.
Full left. Full
Left is
right.
clear. Right
Neutral.
is clear.
And the rudders. Full left, full right, neutral. Okay, B4 taxi checklist. Anti-ice. Auto, recall, checked. Auto brake, RTO. Flight controls, checked. Ground equipment. Where are they? They're gonna be somewhere over here. Okay, the tuck is gone already. Then I assume the ramp agent. Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay, hand signal is received. So, ground equipment clear, APU shutting down, B4 taxi checklist complete. A couple of you have asked me why I'm not using the full screen map for the taxi and only thereafter switch over to the ICAS on my side, and actually I do believe that is a good idea. So we are going to do that today. Okay, clear left side, clear right side. Let's go. My first time handling the airplane with the GEnx engines. So if I'm not driving it exactly perfect, then bear with me for that. Oh, much shorter airplane. Let's see, how am I doing? Yeah, a little bit inside of the turn, so need to overshoot a bit more. This is probably better. Yeah, it definitely is. So, different length of the plane means different handling characteristics during taxi. Overall, speed control does feel very nice on the first impression over here. I have just used a little bit of thrust to get it rolling and a little bit of thrust to get it accelerating. Obviously, we are at a very light weight at the moment. Okay, that is clear on the right. It certainly is. Okay then, let's break it down a bit. Here we go, 10 knots for the turn. How are we doing? Looking good. Nose wheel overshooting a bit, but the main wheel's centered on the center line. That is what we're looking for. Clear right side, clear left side. Then we can turn left onto kilo, and then basically follow that all the way to the holding point. Okay, perfect. So let's review the takeoff briefing. It's going to be a left-seat takeoff on runway 34 center, flaps 5, noise abatement procedure 2, takeoff speeds 30, 35, 45, and the sit straight at 3 miles, right-hand turn heading 080 to intercept the radial outbound from Jeddah VOR, climbing initially 6,000. In case of an engine failure, we proceed straight ahead onto the ocean, climbing to an altitude of 3,000, which is going to keep us safe over the water. Any questions? Nope. Okay. Before takeoff checklist. Flaps. Flaps 5. Before takeoff checklist complete. Okay, with that our route of taxi is assured, so let me get the ICAS onto my side. And here we go. Okay. The scenery we are using over here is double T. Not the best, but it does the job. I really need a bit to get used to the airplane all of a sudden being so short. That really doesn't look right, does it? Neither does my taxiing, by the way, but that is for a different matter. Okay, we don't want to take the first but the second taxiway, and can start to prepare the heads-up display, which we're going to use for our takeoff. Oh boy, did I just say the scenery does the job? And now they put taxiway signs right onto the center line. If only I hadn't said anything. So I'm going to try to take the turn without increasing engine thrust, just to see how the plane behaves. Look at that, it maintains its speed, or rather it loses it very, very slowly. Remember how that used to be a problem with the 787-10? Looks like Kuro have fixed that in the flight model of the 787-8. Very good, very, very good. Okay then, we're ready to go, clear on the left. Clear on the right. Let's turn on the transponder, turn on the strobe lights. Landing lights on. The takeoff checklist is complete, then we're ready to go. Look at how nice it is to maintain the speed with this airplane during the taxi. You need just a little bit of thrust and it is immediately well controllable. Very well done to the modders. Okay, we can't overshoot as much, since the plane is much shorter. Take off. Okay, thrust draft, hot toga, toga. Thrust set. $80 knots. Checked. V1. Rotate. Gear up. Positive rate. Cross draft, enough speed. I might have derated it a little bit too much. You can see how we don't get that much climb power. Flap 1. Check, flap 1. Okay, 210 knots speed limit, so we cannot retract the flaps any further. Let's put on the autopilot and see how the autopilot flies it. My first impression from manual flight here was that it flew a little bit smoother than the 787-10, and it certainly feels more agile. Okay, that's the rate of climb I like. 4,000 feet a minute here. Okay, let's assume ATC gives us an unrestricted climb. Initially flight level 150. So, turning onto a heading of 180 degrees. And once we are established on the radial, so after the intercept point, we can accelerate further and then retract the flaps. It's amazing how different the different parts of the world can look, isn't it? Flying here over Saudi Arabia, it's really totally different from other parts of the world. Yet very fascinating to look at. Very, very fascinating. Okay, heading 080. That looks alright. You can see the nose coming down. That has to be the acceleration. Yep. So, flaps up. Speed check, flaps up. Okay, accelerating towards 299, and then we are passing 10,000, so let's go ahead and quickly run the checks. It does look smooth to me, so let's go ahead and turn the seatbelt signs to auto. And with that, we are on the way. We can run the after takeoff checklist since the flaps are now retracted. And that is landing gear up, flaps up, after takeoff checklist complete. Okay, from here on, it's only going to be just under 2 hours on our way towards Doha. So let's climb that cruising level, 410. And then we can sit back, relax, and enjoy the stunning views on the scenery as we fly over at Saudi Arabia. What's also always interesting to see is if we turn on the airport display and we have a look at this. If I just pass the iCast over to my colleague for a second. Just look at how few airports there are, but then again how many airports there are, keeping in mind that we are flying basically overhead a deserted area. Something we'll have an eye on is over here, the top of climb, which is currently located at the waypoint Imgop, and I kinda doubt that it is really going to take 170 nautical miles to get to the top of climb, but we'll keep an eye on it, we'll see what happens. Okay, transition, set standard. Standard cross-check passing flight level 139 now. Checked. Okay then, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Top of descent? Did anyone say top of descent? No? Okay, then I'd say it. Alright, we are actually approaching our top of descent and it's time to prepare for our arrival into Doha. For a quick check into SimToolkit Pro to see the latest weather. The wind is from 314 kVk, 38 degrees, and the QNH 1000. The arrival, Ulico 1 Lima, is what we've got on here, so that's leading us into a downwind, and then we'll turn towards the final runway 34 right today. Pilot 34 right is up here, and be aware, we've got the two runways of the new Doha airport, and then we've got the old Doha airport down here, so we must make sure not to confuse the two. Looking into the airport itself, we are going to park over here on apron number 3. So that means we need the parking chart down here for Stan's apron 3 Victor Concourse Alpha 2 Echo, and we've got 3 Victor Alpha 2 Echo. Okay, so that is what we need, parking onto the central concourse up here. Cool, then let's go ahead and start preparing our FMC for the arrival. So, 240 below 100 is alright. Forecast, transition level. Let's see if we've got anything defined on the charts. Indeed we do. Transition level 150, and that is fixed. Okay. Then we can go ahead and check our descent winds. So we've got 310, 200, 150. And 100. Okay, flight level 310, we're looking at wind 108 at 17. Flight level 200, we're looking at 064 with 18. Flight level 150 is 002 at 15. You can really nicely see how the wind is shifting over. Oh, but that is not right. I've entered some nonsense here. Okay, flight level 100, we've got a wind 334 at 31, so it's actually picking up as we are approaching the ground. And then we are looking at flight level 150 like this, and over there we're looking at 002 at 15. Okay, nice, that's what we need. Finally, OTHH, we can enter a 25-mile ring for MSA awareness. Last but not least, progress page 6.8 on the landing. We currently have 8.1. That means we're going to use 1.3 tons of fuel, which equals a landing weight of 149.1. Flaps. We can really choose between 30 and 25 over here. So let's have a look into the landing runway once more. See how long the thing is. It's 4,850 meters. Really long runway. And the first exit, or latest the second exit. The second is probably best for us. So let's make it a flat 25 landing. And then use auto brakes 2. Bring the airplane nicely off at Alpha 5 over here. On the other hand side, it is 38 degrees outside, so you know what, we're going to make it a flat 30 landing, just to be on the safe side here. So, quick cross-check on the nav rad page. We've got 110.1 and 336, and that equals the approach chart. Do we need any nav aids? No, we don't. All based on ANAV procedures. Okay, nice. Then we are pretty much set up. Last thing we need is the minimums, which is going to be 226. And then we are all set up. Here we go, 226, and QNH we can pre-select at 1000. Okay, nice. So that is our arrival all prepared. So we can see Qatar coming up over there. Bahrain on the left-hand side, if I'm not mistaken. Again, anybody who knows the area better do correct me, but this is Bahrain, this is Qatar, and Doha should be somewhere over there. Okay then. Well, let's accelerate this a little bit once more, and by the time we're getting down to the altitude where things start to matter, I'm going to be right back with you. Oh, we are past 10,000 feet. We are on local QNH on the primaries. Just going to set that on the standby as well. And then we can also go ahead and do our 10 checks. Got an FMC message here, and that is track required. No surprise, we're flying a little bit fast, but nothing out of the ordinary. Okay. Lights are coming on, seatbelts are on. I'll get the ICAS back on my side. And with that, we are pretty much prepared for the approach. Let's go ahead and read the approach checklist. I did the descent checklist a little bit after I went back to time acceleration. My apologies for that. Approach checklist. Altimeters, QNH 1000, cross-checked. 1000, cross-checked. Approach checklist complete. And that's it already. So we've got Doha coming up. Let's continue the descent all the way down to 3000, and that's basically where we are going to start our base turn already. So, overflying the city, from here on we will take... Well, we're out again, that's downtown down there. Unfortunately, they are using runway 34 today, not runway 16, which is a little bit more spectacular approach, but we take whatever the weather delivers us, don't we? And isn't this just a magnificent looking airplane? I really like the cockpit of the 787. I've recently been in a mock-up of a 787 during my A330 training, and it was impressive how huge those side windows up here really are. Such a lovely cockpit. But don't get me wrong there, I will probably still prefer my A330 over this. But that's just because the 330 is probably a little bit nicer to sit in. Now, if anybody offered me an A350, but well, let's keep it at that. Okay, so we are pretty much prepared for the approach. VNAV should be re-intercepting this path over here momentarily. I don't know why it's paralleling it. Initially it worked very well, then after we overflew a constraint, it went into a little bit of a dive. That was why you saw those 7.5 degree nose down for a while, and I did need to use some speed brake on that one as well. But now it seems to kind of parallel it a little bit here, 50 feet on top of the profile, but apart from that it is doing its job nicely again. Okay. What else could you possibly ask for? Now all we need is the 787-9. Well, that one's gonna come as well, I believe. Okay, heading select. Let's prepare for the base turn any moment now. Also give it level change, reduce speed 220, so that things don't happen too quickly. And you know what? We can actually give it all the way down to the up speed. Okay, start the left-hand turn. And let's go ahead and prepare the FMC. We want Bledsoe. Intercept course 336. And execute. Okay. Interesting that it only draws the line until here. It should really continue this for a little bit longer, but they will know what they're doing. Vertical speed. Really nice how you can see the drift angle here compared to that dike. You can really see how the airplane is drifting into this direction. As you can see, some 7 degrees here of wind correction angle. Okay, flaps 1. Speed checked. At 2 miles from the center line, I'm going to start the base turn. That normally works very well for a nice continuous intercept without too much banking left and right, which the passengers never really like. Okay, 2 miles, it's a runway 34, that means 010 is going to be our intercept heading. So let's start the left turn. And once we're established in a nice turn, like so, we can activate approach mode. "14 miles out, doing 190 knots ground speed, looks very good to me. Localizer capture, runway heading 336, automatically set. Let's switch the taxi light on now already, that means I don't have to do it later. And we're established. Flight slope is coming alive. Okay, autopilot disconnect. Let's see how the airplane will fly manually. Flaps 5. Flight slope capture. Very easy to fly this. Simply put the flight path vector onto the flight director or onto the 3-degree line. And here we are established. Okay then, missed approach altitude, initially 3,000 feet, and that's set. At 6 miles we'll drop the gear, and then we'll see how the airplane handles. The fly-by-wire of the Boeing 787 basically keeps the airplane stable for as long as the speed doesn't change, so configuration changes don't matter. However, speed changes do matter for the need to trim the airplane. That is how Boeing designed the C*U logic. Seven miles out. Okay, so keep in mind we don't have flap 10 positioning the 787-8. So let's go gear down, flap 15. Okay, speed starts coming down, nose starts coming down. Let's correct for that. Flaps 20. Ooh. Yeah, I'm really missing a hand over here. And flaps 30. Set veer of +5. Okay, keep it on the center line. Okay, nice and stable. You could really feel how the airplane decelerated quite a bit nicer than the 787-10 did, and that is simply because, due to our light weight, we also have a lot lighter or a lot less energy. And that looks quite nice, doesn't it? Really like it. I really like it. And look at how stable it is. We are still more or less within the stable criteria. Okay then, landing checklist. Speed brake, on, landing gear, down, flaps 30, landing checklist complete. Okay, now we gotta fly it a little bit again. But overall, very nice and stable airplane. What's really nice to see right now, we've got an indicated speed of 137, but we've got a true airspeed of 145. And that's simply because of the temperature. It's 38 degrees outside. You can also see it on the ICAS already. And those 38 degrees really have an effect. Now imagine not doing this with Boeing 787-8, but overloaded -10 that needs an immediate return after whatever might have happened, causing you to abandon a long-haul flight without leaving you time to dump some fuel. But anyway, let's go ahead and focus on the landing at hand.
Approaching minimums.
Correct?
Minimums.
Continue. Keep brake up, reverse green. Manual brakes. 80 knots. And vacating. Okay, that's the first exit. A little bit better than planned even. But that means we gotta turn right onto the main taxiway and then the first to the left. Again, let's go ahead and take our taxi map. Yeah, this certainly makes our life a little bit easier determining where we want to go. So I could have flared a little bit more, but then again, I just wanted the airplane on the ground because what's the sense in over-flaring a plane? Okay. So let's go next to the left. Okay, get the speed down, 10 knots, here we are, and into the turn. It's always incredible how slow those 10 knots look after you've flown so fast for such a long period of time. And all of a sudden you're doing your turns at 10 knots. But that's the way how to do things safely, that's the way how not to damage your airplane. Okay, let's get a bit more thrust, get the plane rolling. Clear left, clear right. And then we can take the next to the left, and then we end up straight at our gates. Time to slow down a bit again. So, how's the turn looking? Quite perfect. Very good. Okay, the APU is running. And we'll takes down 303 just over here. Lights off. Clear on the left. Can we see any 787 markings here? Not really. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Unfortunately, the guidance system isn't working, so we'll just about park it like this. This looks good, I would say. Brake set, and we have got the engines, APU running. Waiting for 20% M2. Here we go. Shutdown checklist. Hydraulic panel. Set. Fuel pumps off. Flaps up. Park brake. Set. Fuel control switches. Cut off. Shutdown checklist complete. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed your very first flight on the 787-8. Thank you very much for joining, everyone. Again, the link to the airplane is in the video description below. I surely hope that you enjoyed flying along, and I do hope that you will enjoy flying this one as well. Do let me know in the comments below if you have tried this mod already. Now, a final note over here, if you are eager to try this, make sure to remove the other heavy division mods at first. Well, that's gonna be it from my side. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this one. Do let me know in the comments, and as always, if you want to support the channel, I would love to see you as a channel member, which is going to give you exclusive early access to new videos before they're released for everyone else. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all again, hopefully very, very soon.